few days, my research has brought something to my attention that is extremely alarming. Things on the U.S. border, things where the Biden administration is putting out bids to build detention centers, but not for illegals, possibly for American citizens. It's very concerning. To help me go through this all, I have JJ Carrell. JJ, thank you so much for joining me.
Well, I appreciate you having me because I'm excited to talk to you and your audience about this topic because it is I believe, the greatest threat to our republic is the fundamental transformation of America through the machine and mechanism of tens of millions of illegal aliens into our country.
Yeah, I'm very concerned about that. Let me just give some background to my audience. JJ served and protected the United States for over 20 years with Customs and Border Patrol. He's a speaker, a writer, and a documentary filmmaker. You know, the U.S. border is a big worry for many Americans. They're saying right now it's actually a higher priority of concern than cost of living and inflation, although it's very close. Some are saying 10 million have illegally entered the country. Others are saying we've been invaded by over 30 million people. Either way, it's very concerning. But the first thing I wanted to know is I am constantly seeing in the news Democrat leaders saying we need re-education camps for MAGA. We need to unbrainwash people that like Donald Trump. Then I start seeing that they are building these camps, and I start digging in and I see, wait a minute, sometimes the ICE facilities are full, sometimes they're empty. Why do they need more beds? Help my audience and myself understand from your perspective what's going on with these like migrant camps or whatever that they are starting to build all over the country.
Okay, for your audience to understand, you hit this perfect, and I think the numbers that come out of the numbers of illegal aliens plays right into this story. So under Joe Biden, projected out next 6 months, he will have arrested anywhere from 11.5 to 12 million illegal aliens and released 95 to 97% of them. At any given moment, the border is 80% unmanned, meaning over 1,600 miles of any time of the day, there's not one Border Patrol agent. This has never happened in the history of the United States Border Patrol. So you have 12 million arrested and released, and then you have another anywhere from 15 to 18 million that have crossed the border undetected and absconded. So there you have your 27 to 30 million. You have now reported 45 to 50 million illegal aliens inside of our borders right now. 1 in 6 residents in the United States of America is illegal alien. 1 in 6. Okay. Now that plays right into ICE facility. ICE detention, we call them beds. There's 40,000 beds roughly. They're almost all empty. They're almost all empty. How do I know this? Because on my last year in the Border Patrol was Joe Biden's first year. I have contacts, all my buddies, all my friends, everybody that I worked with all up and down the coast, all on the border, and then in ICE and DHS. They all tell me the same thing. They're empty. Why? Because we catch them. We catch these illegal aliens. Then we immediately release them. It's called street release. We turn them over to NGOs, or we literally dump them out in the big metropolitan areas or small rural towns across the southern border. So you have Joe Biden, you have Mayorkas, the Secretary of DHS, going in front of Congress constantly. We need more money for beds. We need more money for beds. Why? You don't put anybody in there. Now, through one of my interviews in my documentary, This is Treason, I'm interviewing a lady that runs a powerful organization, and she's made her money as being a DOD contractor. And she said to me, do you know that there are bids out to construct detention facilities in every state of our nation? What? I said, he goes, yeah, you just got to go on. And I have my co-host on my podcast, Unrestricted Invasion. He's an intel analyst. He has access to everything. He just sits on his computer one day, boom, boom, boom. Hey, screenshot, look at that. Detention facilities. Why? Why are you building detention facilities all across America? Honestly, that's a intellectually honest question to ask. Wait a minute. You're using NGOs to house them in hotels. Are you telling me you're building detention facilities for illegal aliens? Or, as I asked my the person I was interviewing, Christy Hutcherson, I said, ma'am, why are they building them? Well, they're building them, JJ, because those are for dissidents. Those are people that don't believe in open borders. Those are people that will not take the vaccine. Those are people that are dangerous to society. And why this individual, Christy Hutcherson, that I was interviewing, was so powerful in her description, because she was the person that was getting the bids to build FOBs, forward operation bases, FOBs in war zones, to pull our troops back or to set up FOBs to go into war. She's very in tune to what these camps are used for. And she's telling me, JJ, these are for dissidents. And then as I'm sitting there listening to her talk to me about this, in my brain, I'm thinking, do you believe her? Yes, I do. Do you believe your government? The same government that interned Japanese Americans, same government that got us into a war for weapons of mass destruction, $4 trillion, tens of thousands of people dead, soldiers dead, tens of hundreds of thousands brutalized mentally or physically in war. The same government that told you that bats gave COVID-19, and actually it was Americans in China doing it. And then you had to take a vaccine that doesn't work, that the border's secure, but it's not really. That same government, I'm supposed to believe that government, the same government that did medical experiments on African Americans, the same government in the 60s that took women that were, quote, crazy and then removed all their organs to give birth. That government, I'm supposed to believe that government, or the lady that's sitting there telling me, you need to listen to what I'm saying, plus your 24 years experience in the Border Patrol, plus all your research you do for your book and your documentary. Are you telling me you don't believe me, JJ? And I'm like, no, I absolutely believe you. I love my country. I challenge anyone to love that can say they love their country more than me. But I will tell you, I despise with everything in my being our government. Our government is evil. And you don't have to, it's not even just the border, it's everything. Tell me one thing, one segment of society that rules our lives: education, healthcare, religion, government, the intel agencies, law enforcement. Do you trust any of them? I think that's a fair question. Does anybody trust any organization that has any control over your life right now? And for me, my answer is no. I don't trust any of them. This is a guy that's in law enforcement having to tell his wife and his son, if the police show up at your door, if the FBI, you are not to allow them in. You're not to answer even a single question. You asked me that 10 years ago, they'll be like, no, we're going to talk to those police. We're going to talk to the FBI. We're going to talk to everyone. We're going to be helpful. No, we're not talking to anyone. In fact, I want you off my property if you don't have a warrant. I mean, all the way off. I want you on the street. I don't even want you standing in my yard. That's the world we live in now. And it's inexcusable. But we allowed it to happen because we remained silent for so long.
Yeah. Okay. My my brain went down like 7 different paths while you were talking. Okay. Let me try and get my thoughts here. Okay. During COVID, I witnessed the Chinese government and the Australian government building camps where they were locking people up because they wouldn't buy in to the psyop. They wouldn't buy into the propaganda. They wouldn't take the miracle shot, right? And then I saw them. I was like, no, okay, well, you took it, but now we don't believe that you are trusting your government, so we're going to keep you longer. And like I started witnessing this, going, oh my gosh, thank goodness I live in America, the land of the free, right? And then I start seeing the Biden administration just slowly creeping and then very quickly creeping on our rights. We find out they're lying to us through social media. They're lying to us through crime statistics. They're lying to us about the border. There's no problem on the border. Republicans are the reason for the problem on the border. And then next thing, they're like, oh, there is a major problem and Republicans are the problem. It's like, I feel like I'm being lied to and gaslit every single day. I'm with you. It's like, I can't even believe I live in America and this is happening right now.
No, you're absolutely right. And you hit on the head before I answer your question. You have sitting Congress people talking about MAGA people need to be re-educated, put in camps. You have the governor of New York, Hochul, who is an imbecile, actually won court cases where if they be deemed, like a problem to society, mean either I don't agree with the politics or there's another pandemic, she can put us into camps. They approve that through the courts. So what you and I are talking about is not theoretical. We're not saying, well, what if? These are plans laid out. Do you think, here's the bigger question that everyone needs to ask. The Democrats are so close to having complete domination. Every illegal alien is being registered to vote. You can believe that that's not happening. It's happening through the NGOs. The Democrats are this close to having complete control over everything. Do you think they're going to allow Donald Trump just to have a vote and allow him to be president? There's no way. There's no way. And when that happens, if he's not allowed to be president, we are looking at tyranny that we can't even imagine. Look, I'm telling you, the border is absolutely wide open. I'm telling you that there's 250,000 special interest aliens. I'm telling you over 210,000 Chinese nationals, with 120,000 have already been determined to be PLA soldiers through intel and analysis. That's just two topics. We're talking about a million Venezuelans, all from jails and insane asylums empty. We're talking about Haiti with over 1 million. We're talking about tens of millions of single adult military age men from the continent of Africa, the Middle East, and other countries that hate America. And you tell me, this is not my data, by the way. This is CBP data on cbp.gov. So I don't believe their data. I believe it's grossly conservative, but just using their data, which is unbelievable. Tell me how that works out for America. Tell me how that's going to be good for America. And you can't.
Yeah, it's there was a speech from I think she was from Holland, one of those European countries. Yes. I apologize. And she said it will be the first time that taxpayers funded the outside group invading their own country. And that's what's happening, is like they're just stealing our money and giving it to all of these illegals. You got illegal aliens living better than grandmas and grandpas that worked their whole life and contributed to Social Security. Illegals who have been here for 10 minutes are getting better benefits. And like I see the video and the picture, and I see like where are the children? Where are the families? And then you tell me there's hundreds of thousands of missing children. It makes me sick to think what's happening to these children. We know that the women are being violated as they come up through Mexico and other countries. And then the men finally arrive and they're all military-aged men. It's very, very concerning.
Well, when you're a refugee and your nation is being destroyed, right, and you need to get out, do you leave your wife and your kids? No. But they all left their wife and their kids. You hit on a great point, and it has to be discussed, and it's dirty, and it's uncomfortable, and I don't like talking about it, but I'm going to because I have to. 60% to 80% of every woman and child that comes from the Darien Gap in Panama walks and travels through Central America into Mexico into America. 60 to 80% are raped or sexually assaulted. Okay? This is from left-wing organizations. You name the left-wing organization, and I'll tell you, yep, they've already done the data on this. And right-wing organizations, they all agree. The only argument is, what is it? 60 or 80%? Meaning I can take 10 women randomly in America, put them in a room, and say, if you went down to the Darien Gap, minimum 6, but mostly 8 of you are going to be raped or sexually assaulted. Then you go up and you go further into the real dirty, dirty topic of child sex trafficking. And you realize that under President Biden, he has arrested, their data, not mine, over 500,000 to 600,000 of these children. They range from 17 to newborn babies. Newborn babies. And they've lost every single one of them. They have no idea where they're at. Zero. I interviewed a guy that's worked inside these facilities, these NGOs, for 8 years. And I said, give me a number. Give me a percentage. 600 kids, how many do they not know where they're at? He said, bottom level 80% have no idea where they're at. And he tells me stories of them turning their children over to people they have no idea who they are. He tells me stories of, if you can imagine the state of Texas. So you have Carrizo Springs, Brownsville, Texas, all the way on the east side. Then you go all the way west is El Paso. He says routinely they will take 200 to 300 children in the dark of night. This is a guy that did it, not some third party. I heard this, JJ. It's a wives' tale. No, I was there. I did it. This is happening all the time. And he tells me this story: 200 to 300 children. We drive them across the state of Texas, which is enormous, in the middle of the night into El Paso. Why do we go to El Paso? Because El Paso has a large private airstrip, and they have 3 giant private jets lined up, and we take all the kids and we jam them into these airplanes, and then the pilots and the flight attendants are forbidden to talk to us. We can't even talk to the flight attendants. And then they fly us all over the nation in the middle of the night, and we land in other private airports, and there's buses and rental cars waiting for us. And he says, then, JJ, I do something I never do. Instead of just going to the airport and transferring children to people I don't even know, I take black children to white families. I take Hispanic kids to Asians. I take white kids to Hispanics. He said, I'm dropping off kids like a business transaction. They have no relations. They have no idea who I'm giving them to. There's no hugging and crying and kissing. They're just like, I'm not supposed to go here. Yeah, you are. Go. They're delivering children. The United States of America is the largest child sex trafficking organization in modern history. And I know how that sounds. I have an inner voice like everyone else. I understand how crazy it sounds, but I'm telling you, all the data, everyone I've talked to endless people about this disgusting topic that I hate, but I'm being forced to discuss. We're child sex trafficking in America. And the United States of America is the #1 consumer of child pornography. Are you telling me that is a direct correlation to the number of children? Let me finish this topic. I don't know if you want to go on with it, but I'm going to tell you something. I talked to someone 2 days ago. Major anti-child sex trafficking organization. And I said, tell me what it looks like now that the borders are open. And she said, this is one organization, not the total organization, just one. We've seen our cases explode to over 90% increase. And she said, and the crazy thing is, JJ, they are all exotics, meaning they are all non-Americans. They are every color, race, ethnicity that you can imagine from across the globe. She goes, we went from having chocolate and vanilla ice cream forever to now having every flavor that you could ever imagine. It is a pedophile's dream. It is a child sex trafficker's dream. And she says, we're allowing it to happen. And it is by the hundreds of thousands. Listen, I'm going to tell you straight up. I'm a Christian man. I'm flawed, but I'm going to tell you, the God that I know, not the watered down hippie Jesus that he loves transgender and everything's great. No, the guy that believes in black and white, the God of the Old Testament. You're telling me that God that's looking down and he's seeing that his little children, I don't care if they're illegal or not. I got a 12-year-old son, that they're being brutalized sexually. They're being tossed around 5 to 10 times a day. They're being raped to death. Then here's the other dirty part of this, is no one wants to talk about when they're done raping these children to death, they harvest their organs. And then they take their lifeless bodies and they use it as sacrifice. This is not my words. I'm talking to people that do this for a living. Could you imagine? I did part of it for a living, but I didn't every day of my life wake up and chase disgusting pedophiles and look at them destroy little babies and kids. These are people I'm talking to are telling me that I'm in the belly of the beast and this is what happened. This is what's happening right now. And our federal government is facilitating all of it. All of it.
Oh gosh. Yeah, that is a topic I mean, you can't turn a blind eye to it like the government has. Your best guess, would you guess that Alejandro Mayorkas is aware of this?
I did. I wrote a whole chapter of my book on Alejandro Mayorkas. He looks like a very mousy man, right? Very small. He's a genius. You got to understand who this guy is. He is a naturalized citizen from the communist nation of Cuba. His academic credentials are off the chart. He was the youngest U.S. attorney in U.S. history. He was the director of USCIS under Obama. He was the deputy secretary in Obama, and now he's the secretary of DHS. You go and look at every policy that is in effect today. One man created them, and his name is Alejandro Mayorkas. He created DACA. He created CBP One app. He created the abuse of parole, abuse of asylum system. He created catch and release. He did the alternative to detention. He did everything that we are witnessing today. That one man created it and facilitated it. Just look it up. Read my book. I have it all citationed out. This is who it is. And when you watch him testify in Congress, what does he does? Well, the border's secure. The border's secure. Nope. And they're calling him, you're a liar. Okay. And know what he does? He almost shrugs his shoulders like, are we done? I got a nation to destroy. I'm going to go ahead and do it. Let me tell you, I'm going to almost quote this. The Border Patrol chief, Rodney Scott, under President Trump, there's a policy that he has to stay in his position for 120 days after the election, then they can fire him. His first meeting with Alejandro Mayorkas, under congressional testimony, Chief Scott said, almost a quote, they said, what was your first meeting like? What did he say to you? Well, Alejandro Mayorkas told me that I want you to open up every avenue possible to allow in as many people as possible. That's treason. This is the head of DHS telling the number one law enforcement officer, I need you to open the border and allow everyone in. And everything they're doing today, I want your audience to understand, the Border Patrol has a 100-year anniversary in May. So 96 and a half years of that 100 years, excluding the Biden administration, we never did any of this. We never did any of this. It's against the law. You can't release illegal aliens to the street. It's against the Immigration Nationality Act. You can't. It's against the law, but they do it. You can't stay in the country and try to get asylum. They allow you to do it. Parole. Parole is not what you think of state local parole. Parole and immigration is very tightly, it's a one-on-one, very, very restricted use of this. If I have somebody from Germany that needs to get brain surgery or has some strange cancer that only a very small group of doctors in the world, well, you can fly in, but you have like a 10-day window and you fly out. Well, they took parole, they bastardized it. Now there's 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 5 million. Asylum cases are now 4 million cases backed up. Do you know how many asylum officers there are in America? There's less than 900. There's less than 900 that are adjudicating 4 million cases. Do you know that over 5 to 6 million people have already gone through the immigration system, seen the judge, been ordered to deport, and they refuse to leave? 5 to 6 million that we know of. We live in a lawless society. There is no law. Everyone says, well, we have justice. You're a fool if you think there's any justice for anybody in America unless you are exceptionally wealthy and powerful. Everyone else, you're on your own.
Wow. Okay.
It's a big topic. It's a big topic.
It is. I'm just like, I cover so many stories now. They're starting to blend in my mind. Didn't Republicans impeach Mayorkas, and Senator Chuck Schumer of New York tabled it? He put it on the shelf and said, we're not going to try to remove this man from office.
Yes, he did a parliamentary procedure that's never been done. But the Republicans did it by one vote, and they millie-mouthed it. And then what did McConnell do? Did he fight? Did Ted Cruz? Did any of those guys fight? No. This is all a dog and pony show. I want your audience to understand something. The Democrats are evil. I can't stand them. I'll just be honest. But I'm equally disgusted with the Republicans. This is a uniparty issue. Look, my career ran Bill Clinton, George Bush, Obama, Trump, and Biden. I've seen everything. The only man that actually secured the border was President Trump, the greatest border president ever. He was within 6 to 9 months of having a border completely secure. But you know what they didn't do? The Republicans had the House and Senate. Remember that? His first 2 years in office had everything. Do you know who wouldn't give him the money to build the fence? McConnell and Ryan, Republicans. The Republicans stopped the border wall. Look, maybe your audience has an understanding. Put this in context. At the end of Trump's term in office, we were arresting 500 to 600 people a day. I would get the 24-hour report. 500 to 600. That's like a drip in your faucet. That's a nothing. And everyone was deported. No one was released. We were winning. We couldn't believe it. Morale was off the chart. Day one of Joe Biden, we went to 5,000 to 6,000 a day. Released every last one of them. Do you know since Joe Biden has taken office to present day that he has arrested and released anywhere from 5,000 to 20,000 a day?
No.
A day for almost 4 years straight. If you just allow me just 30 seconds to just put a picture, because people can't visualize what I'm talking about. In the beautiful Pasadena, California, you got the Rose Bowl, 100,000 people, 100,000 seat stadium. So I want you to envision what I'm saying. Right now, we're averaging somewhere 10,000. Let's just say 10,000. It's an easy number. So I open the gates on the south side of the Rose Bowl. 10,000 a day for 10 days. I packed that stadium, just packed. You can't move. 65% to 70% of them are single adult military age men from China, Iran, Afghanistan, you name it. They're there. 30,000, 30% are men, women, and children. Of those women and children, 20%, at least 80% of them are going to be raped and sexually assaulted. Then at midnight on the 10th day, I open the northern gate and I push them into America. But at the same time, I don't close my southern gate and I fill the Rose Bowl up. And I do this over and over and over again for 4 solid years. Do you have a picture now what I'm talking about? Every 10 days, I'm not talking about the ones that absconding. I'm just saying every 10 days, I push out 100,000 people into America. Every single 10 days.
Oh my gosh. And nobody cares to stop it.
No, because they have created a system that is so large, it's so entrenched. The NGOs in partnership with the federal government have created a conveyor belt, an assembly line, if you will, where millions of people, think about how hard it is. Think about, I got a pen, 12 million of these pens. You know how hard it is to move 12 million pens? Now imagine 12 million people, the apparatus that's needed to move them, fly them, get them houses, hotels, new clothes, education, money. It's an enormous machine that has been built for over years. This happened prior to Biden coming into office. You have, and I say this and people are going to be uncomfortable. You have Joe Biden and his cabinet and people at the highest level of governments had to have had enormous top shelf level conversations and meetings to strategically plan out the destruction of America. How do I know this? Well, on day one of Joe Biden's office, he signed 94 executive orders. All 94 were to destroy the border that Trump just gave him. He took away everything that was working. And in one day, signed enough paperwork to destroy the border. That didn't happen on day one. That happened weeks and months before. They had high-level meetings to make decisions on what is going to happen with the border. Listen, I'm going to give you 3 quotes, okay? Almost to a word. We are going to fundamentally transform America. That's the first quote. Second quote, we are going to have unrelenting waves of immigration into America that is going to make the Anglo-Saxon citizen a minority in their own country. And the last quote, we need illegal aliens to replace the workforce in America. The first quote was President Obama. The second quote was Vice President Joe Biden. And the third quote was Chuck Schumer. 3 of the top Democrats told you exactly what they're doing. And now you are watching them do it. And then you're questioning, is it actually happening? You don't have to guess. These are not theoreticals. I want your audience to fact check everything I'm saying, because everything I'm saying is actually and factually true. It's not my data. It's not even my assumptions. This is what is happening. And it's happening to America at a rapid rate. I'm doing this documentary. This is treason.com. I'm going to New York. I've gone to New York, Chicago, Philadelphia, LA, San Diego, on and on and on. I'm telling you, I'm watching the manifestation of treason, and it is the absolute destruction of the United States of America. Child sex trafficking, drugs. You have cities, Oakland, LA, San Francisco, Philadelphia, New York, Chicago. They're zombie lands. They're people strung out. They have flesh-eating diseases on their body. It's no more smoking dope or shooting some heroin. It's I'm a zombie for 12 hours and my body's so racked I can't stand up straight anymore. So you have almost 150,000 overdose drug deaths a year. That is triple since Biden came office. Triple. It's a direct line from the open borders to the drug deaths in America. Okay, let me try to put this in perspective. The DEA and local, state, and local, they've seized the last 2 or 3 years like hundreds of billions of fentanyl pills. Let me say that again. Hundreds of billions. Everyone that's been in the business or is in the business now knows that that's a fraction, meaning they have allowed in trillions with a T of fentanyl pills. Just pills. I'm not talking about cocaine, heroin, just fentanyl pills. Trillions. They have seized, not lost. They have seized enough pills to kill the total population of America probably 8 to 10 times over.
Wow. Dang. I'm not usually speechless during an interview, but this is like so overwhelming to my brain, and the fact that I genuinely believe it's on purpose, that it was planned out, and that I feel helpless is not a great combination.
Well, look, if I'm really honest, I'm just going to tell you, I do about 5, 10, 15 interviews a week, and I find no joy. I don't. I do it because I feel like I have to. Look, I got a beautiful son. I'm retired, right? I retired from the Border Patrol. I could do nothing. Just be with my little dude and my wife and go on vacations. I'm down in Kensington, Philadelphia, being accosted by people that are zombies with machetes. I'm down in New York in illegal alien shelters. I'm in San Diego walking the border with SIA, special interest alien terrorists all around me. I'm talking to child sex trafficking organizations that go after these people. I don't take any joy in this. This is dirty. I don't like it. I would love to be talking to you about how President Trump got his second term and we got the border secure and we should all be thanking that man. But we're not. You and I are having a discussion about the destruction of America. And I know people are going to say, well, is that hyperbole? I mean, you really think America is being destroyed? Are you kidding me? You said, well, how much money are we spending on illegal aliens? And our grandmothers or grandfathers are struggling with Social Security. They're being taxed on. Let me give you an idea of how much illegal aliens cost America. This is Joe Biden's terms, his data, not mine. The bottom end at the end of his term, he will have spent over $700 billion on illegal aliens. And the people that are in the business know that it has already surpassed 1 trillion with a T. $1 trillion for illegal aliens in America. Are you telling me we couldn't use $1 trillion for our brothers and sisters? Look, I'm in Chicago, man. I'm in Chicago, and I'm standing in front of a brand new hotel that got this Standard Club got gutted. The inside got gutted, and they put up brand new showers, bathrooms, laundry facilities, cafeterias, all for illegal alien men from Venezuela, up to 1,200 of them. Down the street were U.S. citizens living in squalor, in tents on the side of the road. And they can't get in because they're not illegal aliens. It had to cost Chicago at least $10 million to redo that. Chicago has already spent, we're talking about Chicago, where the average black resident is on welfare, has their schools are crumbling, they're killing each other, crime's rampant. How do I know? Because I went down to South Side and I was interviewing black pastors, black gang members, men that have been just got out of jail for murder, and everyone in between. And they said, do you know that they have already spent over $3 billion on illegal aliens in Chicago? Chicago doesn't even have a school that even reads or does math at the proficiency level. And then you're going to bring in hundreds of thousands of illegal aliens from Venezuela? And I'm being told by the black gangsters, hey, bro, we're going to war. We're going to have a war this summer. I have black mega pastors telling me we're one murder, one rape of a Venezuelan against a black, and it's over. You're going to have a race war in Chicago that you've never seen. And how do we know that this is also true? Because the Chicago politicians now came out and said, well, we're thinking about not having the Democrat convention in Chicago. What? You've been planning for like 2 years now. That's tens of millions of dollars just planning. And you're saying, we might go remote. Really? Because you know Chicago's about to blow up. And they all do. They all tell me this is just a crazy time in American history. But if we ever take it back, Trump wins and he puts in the deportation force and we do all that. I'm telling you, it's going to be a bloody mess for 18 months minimum.
Yeah. But if he doesn't get in,
it's over.
I mean, it's crazy. And yet, Fox News is putting out these new polls that Joe Biden is winning compared to Trump. And I'm like, is Fox News trying to destroy the country? Like, it makes no sense. Why would Trump be up a bunch of percent, a bunch of points on CNN, but over on Fox News, he's suddenly a loser to conservatives?
Well, does that shock you though? I mean, you take their number one money guy, Tucker Carlson, and you toss him to the wind. Who's running? Who's the main board member on Fox? It's Paul Ryan.
Yeah. Paul
Ryan hates Trump. This is the same. This is the same organization that called Arizona like at 11 o'clock in the morning on the presidential election in 2020. They said, yeah, Arizona's lost, and the governor of Arizona called Fox. They already have this on data saying, hey, what are you doing? We haven't even have like 10% of our votes in yet. Nope, Arizona is for Biden. And I right then I went, okay, something's wrong. But Fox News, does anybody watch Fox News? I'm a news junkie. I don't watch Fox News. You know where I get my news? Podcast. That's all I do now is I listen to people that are experts. Why do I need, and Sean Hannity's a nice guy, but why do I need to know about the Ukraine war through the lens and filter of Sean Hannity? Why can't I just go on a podcast and listen to Douglas McGregor tell me exactly what's going on in Ukraine and Russia?
Yeah.
We're being inundated by lies in America. Literally, Mayorkas is like Baghdad Bob. Remember him? That was saying, no, that we're winning the war, and as American tanks are driving behind them. Same thing with Mayorkas. The border's secure. Don't ignore those 10,000 illegal aliens under the bridge in Eagle Pass. That's an anomaly. Don't look at that. Okay. Look, man, I'm looking at 250,000 special interest aliens have been arrested and released under Joe Biden. 250,000. That's what we know of. Do you know how many special interest aliens that I arrested in the totality of my career, which is about 15 to 20,000 people? And I watched equally another 20,000 be arrested by other agents. 5.
Wow.
Okay. Right now, my buddies send me pictures of their groups of 1,000 sitting on our side. Let me repeat that. Of 1,000 of all men from continent Africa and Middle East. And they tell me, how many terrorists you see here, JJ? And at one time in one station in San Diego, this was 2023, I was told that they were getting hits on terror alerts 50 times a day.
Wow.
50 times a day in one station. One station. If you think that Border Patrol has announced ICE, we arrested 303 terrorists, known terrorists. We're doing a great job. Are you kidding me, dude? That's all you arrested? And you're telling me that I'm supposed to believe in this fantasy world that only 303 terrorists came across the border, and yet you have in your arrest data 250,000 people from terrorist nations, and you say that only 303? I mean, I could go on for another 2 hours just on the number of terrorists that are in America right now, and give you undeniable data that you can't argue, that is just black and white. It's in CBP, plus my experience, plus all the men and women that call me every day, tell me what the hell's happening. The border, America has never been this vulnerable. It has never been this vulnerable to attack. I have PLA soldiers. We have PLA soldiers in America right now from China. I have a high-level intel analyst from one of the alphabet people groups are telling me they've already identified 120,000 PLA soldiers in America. 120,000. And you say, well, that can't be. Okay, let's go back to President Trump's last year in office. Do you know that he arrested, the Border Patrol, arrested 1,920-ish Chinese nationals? This year, we're going to arrest over 80,000.
Wow.
80,000. Last year, we did over 50,000. You can't make this up. And look, I'm a big guy on experience and data and research. Data is what it is, right? CBP lies about their data. But if you just take it at face value and say, no getaways, just what we're arresting, when you dig into that 12 million, that should scare you to death, man. To death. You have gang members. You have Venezuelan prison gangs that are now entrenched in the East Coast and moving all the way down to Houston and through the Southeast. And they're out there they're going to get into Oakland and LA and San Francisco if they're not already there. And you think you've seen violence? We're talking about nations where their weapon of choice is a machete because they like to hack each other to death. And the other instrument of power is rape. They rape your women to show that they are superior in Haiti and Venezuela and on and on. And you have millions of those people in America. Look, I've been to all of these camps. I've been to all of this. I've already seen it. I lived this. I know I know when I see pictures because I arrested all these guys. I'm telling you, you beta males, you're in for, they're not going to attack me. I'm not the low-hanging fruit. They're going to attack you. If there is a LGBTQ sign or flag in your front yard, or if there's a Biden flag, they're coming after you. How do I know this? Because they're already doing it in Michigan. They were attacking high-end houses in Michigan, whoever had a Biden or LGBTQ flag out, because they knew that there was a beta male in there. They knew that they had no guns. They knew that they didn't even know if they were a man or a woman, if they could have babies or not. I'm going to go take from them. And they were doing home invasion burglaries. This is starting to happen across America. So I tell you, if you are one of those whiny little baby Democrats, they're going after you first. And you look at the crime that's skyrocketing across America. I mean, violent illegal alien crimes. I could spend 24 hours straight with you and just go through one violent murder, rape, and child rape after another for 24 hours and not even tip the tip of the iceberg. I mean, just look what happened this week. The beautiful young woman that had the mother of 5 gets raped and killed in Maryland. 2 days ago, a beautiful 12-year-old girl with long curly hair and braces, just her whole life ahead of her. 2 dudes from Honduras or Mexico strangle her and throw her into a ditch in Houston. A savage rapes a 13-year-old girl in broad daylight in New York City. That's 3 and then Denver 2 days ago, a guy that's been deported 16 times was driving a semi and crashed into a man from Colorado and killed him. That's 4. I didn't even pause or hesitate. I still got 10 more to tell you about, and then another 1,000. And if you think you're not going to be affected by this, then you are living in fantasy land. Do you think Laken Riley, the nursing student from Athens, Georgia, Lily White, Athens, Georgia, Sanctuary City, Athens, Georgia, did you think when she went for a run on that beautiful morning between 9 and 11 a.m. that a savage from Venezuela that's already been arrested 4 times, U.S. Border Patrol, New York PD arrested him twice and was arrested in Athens, Georgia, and then did not go to court. So he had a warrant for his arrest. Do you think when she went to run and her family that their daughter was going to have her skull disfigured and murdered and left for dead on a pond, on a track on a pond? If you think that you're exempt from this, you're a fool. In your state where you're calling me from, you're allowing thousands and thousands of illegal aliens into Utah. Thousands. And you are going to pay a hefty price.
Yeah, I just read that they're flooding in here because they're hoping that the religious will have a kind heart towards them. Yeah, it makes me sick. We got such feckless leaders here. Yeah. Well, I know we're up against time. We definitely need to have you back on the show. Even though I'm like sick to my stomach, we need to hear this stuff. We need to know what's going on. I know it brings you no joy to share it, brings no joy to receive it. Excuse me. How can we follow you online? I'm going to put a link to your book, Invaded, and then tell us about when Treason comes out.
Okay, you can go to JJ Carrell 14 on X. I post videos constantly of our journey. And then you can go to thisistreason.com, thisistreason.com. And I love this website, and I love the idea my business partner, Ryan Matta, had. He said, let's sell it for a cup of coffee, $9.99-ish, right, for a large drink at Starbucks. But I also want to do one VIP package for $14.99 because as we go through each leg or each city, we are going to post videos, professionally edited videos that you can access, and there will be hundreds of hours at the end of this after you get the full documentary. But as we go, we have 10 plus hours of interviews already posted, so you can follow along with guests that are incredible: Colonel McGregor, Tyrone Mohammed, Christy Hutcherson, and Ann Vandersteel, and on and on and on as we go on this journey. So, and the website's clean. It's just click and go. That's it. $9.99 or $14.99. And then I just want to finally say that I'm excited about this documentary because it's not going to be the old, boring, slow down, you pause it and take a nap documentary. Once you get done watching it, our goal is for you to not even exhaled, like you're holding your breath because you're like, I can't believe this. And then the second thing I want you to say, there's no way this is true. JJ's lying. There's no way, because that's going to propel you to fact check me. And you're going to find, dear God, that guy's right. He's 100% right. It's happening. It's all documented. So that's what I want. And I appreciate the time you gave me. A lot of time to be able to articulate this. Is a lot to unpack because they built it this way. They built it convoluted and clunky. But when you start peeling it away and you start connecting the dots, there is no other explanation except it's treason against America. And I challenge anyone that does not agree with my conclusion, then tell me what the hell's going on. Tell me why the government allowed 30 million people into America. I want an explanation. I want it to not be about your feelings and all that. Tell me why. Why is it good for America and why did they do it? Then we sit here in stone cold silence. That's what happens every time.
Yeah.
But thank you.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you doing the research. Also, all the years that you served our country. I'm sure the Border Patrol agents are beyond frustrated now. Yes. Knowing they're asked to do one thing and then turn a blind eye. I'm sure it's incredibly confusing. I've heard that suicide rates are like off the charts among Border Patrol because they feel like they're betraying their country. I don't know if that's true or not. No, it's absolutely true. We have an epidemic of suicides in the United States Border Patrol. That's why I'm so passionate about this, is I've seen the lies, I've seen the manipulation of immigration to serve the purposes of politicians to enrich themselves and to retain power, all at the behest and at the detriment of U.S. Border Patrol agents that are down there. And you don't want to know what it's like to be down there and to fight people in the dark of night when there's no one around but you and 10 or
5 to 10 savages, and you have to get them subdued, or child rapists or drug dealers. You have no idea what it's like to be down there and then to be betrayed. And that's why men and women are killing themselves at unprecedented rates, because our government are corrupt and evil.
Wow. All right, we'll end it there. I'm going to put those links down below. Thank you for coming on, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
You too. Thank you very much.